think if I was just take a guess, I would say you would give an extension to Kane, and then let Hosmer play out his contract. Then when it's time for him to be a free agent, ask Hosmer if he's willing to take a hometown discount, because Kane's defense is so great. I think they can find someone on the market or trade for first baseman. But I think Kane is a very special player.
So what happens to Moustakas?
I think for Moustakas, I think it all depends on what kind of season he has in 2016. Because Moustakas up until last season wasn't that great of a hitter, but he's come on late. So I think it all depends on his performance. If he continues to hit well, then I think the Royals are going to have to make a tough decision regarding those three players, and also on their infielder Alcides Escobar as well.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what we're suggesting, that it's going to be difficult to keep the core of this team together, and you do wonder if Dayton Moore does have a plan B. I'm sure he does. It's just a question of how well that plan B can be executed to allow this team to continue to contend.
Yeah.
Now, another name that pops to mind, I got two more names before we go, guys. Dexter Fowler, of course, played a role in the rise of the new Chicago Cubs, I'll call them. But, of course, he was one of those guys that turned down, I believe he was one of those guys that turned down the qualifying offer. But I'm wondering now, I mean, is there a place in somebody's outfield for Dexter Fowler, or is this guy going to come off somebody's bench?
I think the Cubs would entertain re-signing Fowler if they don't make any of the moves. It all depends on what the Cubs do. But I do think, what if a team does get Fowler, he will most likely be their leadoff hitter due to his ability to get on base and actually make an impact with his speed.
I'm kind of surprised that Dexter Fowler hasn't necessarily created a market for himself. I think he did some really good things for the Cubs last year, not only offensively but defensively as well. I'm sort of surprised that teams, I wouldn't say jump at Dexter Fowler, but I'm kind of surprised that a market hasn't been created. But we haven't hit the first of the year yet, so maybe that market can still be created for him.
Yeah, I think once Alex Gordon and Jonas Cespedes sign their contracts, then I think we will see the market for Fowler begin to develop, just based on what those two guys get, and also Justin Upton as well.
Because I wouldn't put Dexter Fowler in Cespedes' category or even Upton's category. I might put him in Gordon's category, and that's, like you said, Chris, it's going to cost potentially $100 million if you want to sign him to, say, 4 or 5 years. I don't know if teams really consider Dexter Fowler to be a $20 million guy, but I guess that's what you're going to have to wait and see.
No, I don't see him as. I got to agree. I wouldn't see him as a $20 million guy. And Chris, you brought up the last guy I was going to talk about, Jonas Cespedes, of course. 4 years in the majors, 4 teams. Just finished with Detroit and the Mets. 35 home runs, 105 RBIs. But basically, this guy's an American leaguer, right?
I actually think the Tigers are going to re-sign him, because the Tigers love him when he's on their roster, and I think having him with Miguel Cabrera, JD Martinez, and Victor Martinez, I think that'll make the Tigers lineup real special. And their owner, Mike Ilitch, is known for spending, and he desperately wants to bring a product to Detroit. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Tigers gave Cespedes a deal worth like 5 years and $110 million.
Mike Ilitch is a guy that desperately, as Chris pointed out, wants to bring a championship to Detroit, and he is willing to spend a whole lot of money to be able to realize that dream before, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. And that's what he has been doing for the past few years with the kind of money that he's been spending for guys like Cabrera and Verlander and so forth. He's going to continue doing it because that really is the ultimate dream of Mike Ilitch, is to be a World Series champion in the city of Detroit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Another edition of NGSC Sports Baseball Weekly in the Batter's Box. Of course, I am your host, Ralph Garcia. And I've been joined by my two co-hosts, John Doucette and Chris Lacey. You can find Chris on Twitter at AECanada12. Find John at Radio Doucette. You can find me at El Grafito 322. Of course, the Twitter handle for NGSC Sports, as always, at NGSC Sports. Please like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Check out our content at ngscsports.com. Remember, of course, as I always tell you, all the current content. I told you what was going on. Well, you've got the Western Conference wrap. That's our NBA column. Earnestly Speaking Podcast. Brock or Peyton? Bengals minus Dalton? Is Odell Beckham Jr. a top 3 receiver? And the NFL playoff picture, of course, is the replay of LaGuardia Community College against Nassau Community College. Last night's play-by-play. Remember, tomorrow we'll have live play-by-play coverage of Nassau Community College as they host Bunker Hill Community College. Our editor, Jake Stanley, throws up his weekly edition of Bully Ball, Unmasked and Untamed. Seth Mowed brings us The Method to the Madness, NCAA Basketball, South Dakota State. And, of course, always pay attention to the funny guy, Sammy Sportface, as he tells us about his ebook and how much he sucks, and all about what happens in the crazy world of Sammy Sportface. Until next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, until we finish.
Well, I thought we were going to wait until after Christmas to come back.
That's why I'm saying until the next time. But you see, folks, IQ is always on it. He makes sure that I get things right. Until the next time, folks, when we meet again, which will be in the new year. So, a very Merry Christmas to all of you out there, not only from this show in the Batter's Box, from NGSC Sports, from myself as CEO of NGSC Sports, from Kyle Nash, the Chief Operating Officer at NGSC Sports, but more importantly, all the guys like John and Chris, all the hosts and co-hosts of the other shows, the writers, the editor himself, everybody who puts it 24/7, 365. Because like we always say at NGSC Sports, we never stop. So from NGSC Sports, myself as its CEO, and everyone here at NGSC Sports, a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, a very blessed holiday season. And until next year, we'll holler at y'all. Peace. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and an NGSC year.